All right. I'll share my screen with this poster. So one of the emails that I sent that came back with the QR code message was saying that I had done a little bit of revision on the text on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, and I had added this QR code, which was the whole crux of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I feel like based on our meeting that we had as a group on Monday, pretty close to being finished. So would love any and all feedback you guys have. I can zoom in um, on any sections. Any first thoughts from Karen or Perry who have some experience with this?
It's I just want to say it's very chill. I don't think we have to over scrutinize anything. If you want me to, I can't read the text from here, but if you want me to read the text, you can, but I wouldn't overly worry about it.
Okay. Well, Ross had found this great video just to speak about what we're doing here. Ross found this great video that talked about one of the problems in poster sessions is that you can't possibly walk by these posters and understand what's going on. So putting kind of your results front and center here gives you a kind of a hook to come in and say, hey, are you interested in what we found here? Well, let's talk about it. I thought that's just such a great way to do it. You got the QR code here in case someone wants to just read about it later. And this split on the side I thought was really cool too. They talk about while you're having a conversation with someone else could come around and just kind of take a look at what's going on the left side. And then you're there where you could talk about your findings on the right. So I think it's a great way to look at it. I've looked at some of the other posters that are going to be there, and they're very like the traditional kind of format. I feel like ours is just very readable. Um,
Oh yeah, and sorry, Stephen. I think maybe you were gone when we had that very conversation. So,
oh,
uh,
maybe,
yeah,
yeah.
when I first saw it last time or whatever, yeah, I totally agree. People, it's too small to read so much. People will come up and occasionally try to read it, but one little tip when you're standing there is just to make sure you haven't floated in the way of your poster. You'd be talking to someone to get in a conversation, and then you're actually standing in front of your poster. So I try to remind myself to move move away from that, because
I'm gonna be the
also
floater. I'm gonna walk around while Steven's
Mhm.
there. Say, "Oh my God, did you see that poster about nostalgia?" And I'm gonna have a karaoke mic and just sing all the tunes.
Exactly. I said I'd bring my little mini speaker so you can hook it up to your phone and just
Mm-hmm.
invite people in to sing that. You can have the list, the Rolling Stone list or whatever list with you, and just be
Exactly.
like, "Hey, we know someone out there knows Gilligan's Island. Let's do it."
Yep.
But
and
seriously,
say our
Really
favorite.
quick, we
Mhm.
only need 4 clap emojis. There's 5 on the poster, and there's only 4 needed. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Five.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I thought it was
What?
It is.
No one told you life was gonna be this way.
You missed the first one before the downbeat.
Yeah.
What version of Friends are you guys watching?
Sorry, my friend.
And by the way, so at interesting point. So you know that apparently there's a measurable percentage of people who will respond to digital media like this just to say it's wrong, just to say you made a typo or a mistake, and that's exactly the sort of thing that's going to happen with the claps. We're going to get people trying to do it, and Stephen's going to be like mobbed, and people will be doing well. We don't know. It might be 4 people. Who knows? Um,
Okay,
I'll just
this
take
personal
whatever the
story.
other side is just to get that, engagement going.
This personal story is highly relevant to this. I'm going to tell you. So I went to play music bingo, which involves having songs written on bingo sheets, and then they play 30 seconds of different songs, and you mark it off if you have the song. Well, that one song about everybody clap your hands and there's a thing, I don't even remember what it's called. Too new for me to know
Like
the
a
title.
Cupid shuffle.
Yeah, exactly. Um, the entire restaurant, it's like a crowded restaurant. Everyone's doing this and they're clapping. So I'm thinking you really could, and I'm not even kidding about this, you could play the theme to Friends because it's so popular. And you know, you don't have to blast out the entire poster session, but, you know, and just, you know, people will start clapping and they'll probably come over, because to me, the sweetest thing about music bingo is that everyone sings along with all of the songs, even little kids and stuff, and they clap and do the thing. So, I mean, most poster sessions are a social event where you feel awkward because you're like, oh, there's a poster I'm kind of interested in. But it's like a salesperson at the counter, like, if I go over there, they're going to start showing me the thing and now I'm going to have to buy it or something. So you just feel weird. So then if you're interested, you're like, should I go over there or not? Or, but if, you know, if there was a way to just get people playing along and having fun with it, yeah, maybe they would feel the feels. And they would get to know what we're talking about here. So
So we can have a poll. Is it 4 claps or 5? Because it's definitely 4. It's
this is exactly the type of argument I had with my husband, and later I found out I was wrong.
I just listened to it again. It's 4.
Okay. Well, yes, you can have the audience poll. How many claps after that line in Friends?
Hmm.
Can I see the right side, what it says under pilot
Yes.
on pilot 2?
Sorry, it is sweltering in here. I just stand up and turn my fan up.
Hmm.
It doesn't want to zoom in, or it doesn't want to go more to the right. So sorry, we're at the edge of the screen here.
I can see it.
And sometimes, Karen, you can zoom in on the Zoom window
Yeah.
from our side.
That's true. Yeah. Ooh, now it's huge. Excellent. Wow. All right. Okay, so that was the factor analysis of, did you do a quick, wait, what was that, a factor analysis of the emotion responses?
Jess,
Um,
this was you. It's from your
Yeah,
piece.
that was when you ran it, and then it was like the positive emotions scale, and then we kind of saw like, oh, they're being grouped together over here, and
oh, okay, so I did that factor analysis.
yeah.
I can forget anything that's ever happened to me. There's nothing that can happen that I can't forget.
Yeah, what was
Okay, so
interesting in that one was that it grouped the positive and then the negative emotions, and then it put nostalgia kind of in like its own, along with bittersweet, I think. So it kind of supported the idea of this like mixed affect
yeah,
nostalgia.
I do remember that now. And I haven't run it on the study 1 data that we have. You know, I don't know exactly what all to think about those data, but we could run it on that as well. Yeah, I think this is good. Yeah, you could put PANAS on there if you wanted to, positive and negative affect scale.
Sorry, your faces are in the way. Let me move you guys over
Our faces are in the way of the screen.
here. Yeah.
But Ross, you
So-
got rid of your bowl.
Yeah. I swapped. I swapped. No halo. You'll have to imagine it.
You looked like the guy, was it Spaceballs? It was like a Rick Moranis character. Where he
Yeah.
has-
Rick
Yeah, he's
Moranis.
straightener
Dark
on his
helmet.
head. Yes.
Right.
How does that look? We have our like methods and measures stuff over here, so we do have, you know, your faces are in the way up there.
We
So we've
mentioned
got it,
Panis over that side.
yeah, fully articulated here, but we could certainly drop it in right there to kind of.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, that looks very good, and I agree. A while back, there was a conference, and they suggested this type of formatting for the poster instead of the traditional one where there's more tiny words and tiny pictures and stuff. And I agree. People will flock to the anything that's a visual, an image, even the 1, 2, 3 points there, or the visual down there. So Yep, and then your
Would
job
it
is
be
just to stand there and
crazy?
talk.
Oh, sorry. Would it
Go
be
ahead.
crazy to put the QR code in a television graphic, or is that too cheesy? Like if the QR code was the television screen and it looked like a TV, or is that bananas?
I don't know. What do you guys think? It
Mm.
does kind of have that like
It just looks like
CRT
cable
shape.
static, like they're here.
You
You
could
could
try
have
it.
a
It might
couple,
cut the guy's head off.
have a couple music notes coming off of it.
You mean
Mhm.
over here on this TV, or you mean like
Yeah,
put a
like
TV
if like
graphics
that
on there?
QR code
there.
was the screen of a television with a little antenna, it could just, add a little extra visual. But if that's
Yeah.
You might need a different picture so that won't mess up their heads, where the heads aren't in front of it.
no,
sorry,
no, not on the people. Like the actual QR code looks like a television screen. So if
Oh,
you
you
just
mean
make
make
the
that
QR
into a,
code look like a television.
I see, that is
For
cute.
some added creativity.
It is.
Sometimes these little, how is it not going to show up on TV?
They don't know what that is.
Oh, it's all like,
What about television word like spelled out?
I can work with this. Let's see. Or you don't, well, yeah, I can work with that. Or this one, let's see.
If it's too annoying, go,
No, not at all. I do this kind of thing all the time. This one looked interesting because maybe you could kind of do like that.
Oh, look at that. Hey, very Nietzsche of you, flipping it on its head.
Let's see.
No, it's a rectangle, not square.
Well, we could easily make this a different size. No worries.
I'm sure there's been icons that have been made out of like a personified TV with arms and legs and stuff. That's probably square. All right, well, we'll let you play
Can
with
do that
that
in post.
later. But, yep. All right. So shall we get into the working on the study, the MTV study?
Sure.
So thanks for sending the songs. And I guess, Stephen, you ran the numbers. And Perry and I were doing it at the same time. So you had the numbers from the two pilots, huh? Of the songs they chose the most often?
For the frequencies, yes.
Mhm.
Let me see. I have them in a spreadsheet so we can kind of do other stuff with them. Let's see. All right.
Go sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. I'm just going to mute myself.
I always do that. I was bless you before you sneeze, and then it goes away, and then you're left wishing you had just sneezed.
I am.
Okay, here it is. I will after this meeting, I will upload the poster with that little graphic change, but as is otherwise. Is that okay with everyone?
Yep.
Really
That's
just
good.
mostly Jesse, and because she's going to be defending it with me.
No, I'm
All
just
right.
sparkling and getting engagement. You're the one doing all the work, Stephen.
Perfect.
I'm just floating and just using my personality, and then you're gonna hammer home the details.
Good, because I am not that social butterfly.
I got you then.
You're gonna need your fluttering.
I'll be there, so
For you.
Exactly.
Fortnite.
Exactly. And I like to break into song, but you should break into song loudly because you have a good voice. But no, I think anything could happen with a poster like this. Normally there's like, the clinical folks, they have stuff with like brain lesions or children being sad. We have TV theme songs.
Sarah McLaughlin playing in the background in the arms of an angel.
That's right.
All right, so here is our frequencies. Just real quick, like.
Oh, great. So you got those P1 and P2 from the stuff I sent.
This should be the same number. Yeah, there we go. Yep, so pilot 1, pilot 2, and then combined. And then down here, we just
Oh, I
have
see.
pilot 2 randomly selected songs. I think I'm not sure why I did
That
just
says unfamiliar.
yeah, this is unfamiliar. All this up here is the familiar. Nostalgic
Okay.
songs.
And I ran the study 1 experimental group ones, and I was just feeling uneasy about it because the #1 song was the Gary Shandling Show.
Mm.
I like that song, and it is a good song. It's on the list of the top 25, but it just looks different than the other ones, and I would just have to guess that it's not as sure a thing as something like Friends or the Brady Bunch. I'm sure that there are real people who actually like it, like myself, but it felt weird to have that be the top one. And we're only picking like 6 songs to randomly assign to them, or however many we're going to pick. So yeah, I would rather go with the Friends, etc. The Angel or one of you sent the final list via email.
Yes, Andrew did a bunch of work on that. I'm sad he's not here because he's got like some knack for this. I don't know what his background is.
What
It didn't come up in the meeting, but
Yeah.
to be
Andrew, if you're listening, you're doing an amazing job. It is very impressive.
to be fair, Stephen was one who did a frequency list of both top tens and both top lists, and then merged them so we got a kind of a combined best. And then Andrew went and sourced the files for it.
Yeah, that's great. He wrote me when he said that he couldn't be here for the 3 o'clock. I think he's around for 4. So if we're still on there, we can do more. So do we have are you satisfied with the list of, I called them popular and obscure, but whatever language we're going to use? Are you satisfied with the popular songs?
yes. So popular is what you're seeing here. I have this organized by the full frequency that we saw in pilot 1 and 2. And we thought this list of
Mhm.
6 here um, pretty much captured the full range of, like, basically, if we were to go through and choose the list, like, well, what do we think would be the most nostalgic songs? I think
Mhm.
the data comes back right where we would have chosen.
Yeah,
It's got
these
a
are
nice
all
mix.
really, really well known.
Yeah. So
Clearly,
I
those top
think
3
that's
are
what
kind of
we.
standing alone: Fresh, Prince, Friends, and Cheers.
Mhm. Yeah. So us as a group, we thought, why go further than that? I think we have the justification from our pilot data, and it seems
Yeah,
to follow logically.
I can show you let me look in here. Continue talking, please. I'm going to look up something.
Sure. And what I was talking about with Andrew, he found us. Well, he was able to get around whatever we had been downloading songs from YouTube, and they put a stop to that. But Andrew has some kind of method, so he got all the downloads. But he also found some obscure songs along with Ross. So we've got a list of those as well.
Great, and this is just what I sent you. Let's see, nostalgic 3. I have to remind myself what was what here. That's pilot. Okay, this is End Song 1 plus End Song 2. This is from study 1, where you see the Gary Shandling Show is the first, and then The Sopranos, Gilligan's Island, Friends, Brady Bunch, OC, Rockford Files, and Jeffersons. Again, just the experimental group from the study 1, but like I said about the Gary Shandling Show, I just it made me think that wasn't the best bet, but these are data. We're not entirely sure if our data are great but I'd rather probably go with the one that you showed. And I think Barry agrees, is that right?
This one, Gary Shanling
Thumbs
said
up.
21, but on the other one, it only said 1. I'm like,
Yeah, she's looking at the study one data, and we were looking
study
at
one, not pilot one. Got it.
Mhm.
All
Right.
right. Just kidding. Thank you.
Yeah, song 1 plus song 2, I added those together, and these were the counts, and these are the, you know, in any, whether, aside from is the data okay or not, any one study, they could skew in a certain direction. We don't know what would happen if we had 1,000 people. Would that show still come up? Is it something about the people who were recruited? You know, it's hard to say, but yeah. And I'm sorry, I think Perry, you were saying something. I didn't mean to talk over you.
Nope, I was just agreeing.
Okay. Yes, please agree with us more. We love that. Okay, so if we are okay with that list, what about the obscure songs?
Yeah, let me share my screen one more time. So this is, Ross, you might have to remind me because I think we're missing the 2 British songs that we're going to use, right? But this
Oh,
was a list of,
those ones there are the spares. So there's
oh,
another
gotcha.
list. So what happened is we identified 4 4 American shows that were cancelled within 13 weeks, which is a half season. And so they exist. There are theme tunes to them. They were played in public, but they were bombs by any standard. So, and we did it through a range of years, up as late as 2000.
I'm sorry, just to be clear, the show was a bomb. We don't
Yeah, the
know if
show
it
was a
happened to
bomb.
have a great song or not a great song. Because one of the
We
things
did listen to the
people,
songs.
oh, did you? One of the things people may argue is just like, well, maybe they were bad songs, just like they may argue, well, they're British, but we're arguing, if we go with this, that they are obscure. The shows, we don't actually know much about the song itself, but I'm sorry,
Well,
Stephen, you were going to talk about, what did you think when you heard the songs?
No, no, I shouldn't have interrupted there. We did go through the songs and listen to each one, and kind of our criteria was obviously this that Andrew's so well laid out here, but also like does it sound somewhat similar? Because what we're going for is a lack of familiarity, but
Mm-hmm.
otherwise we don't want it to be just like, 30 seconds of high-pitched squealing, It needs to be a song that is otherwise maybe, just a song, right? So we thought that some of these were pretty good as far as songs go, and then we had
Mm-hmm.
some that were kind of weird. I think Greg the Bunny is a good demographic hit
Mm-hmm.
here because it's kind of funny, but like not in a way that really makes you laugh. It just
Yeah.
kind of has like a different feel to it, right? So we can go through them all. Ross found
Yeah.
these 2 British songs, Neighbors and Minder, which I think maybe we listened to last
Neighbours
week.
we've heard before. Minder is just a great. It sounds like any quintessential buddy cop theme, but you can't place it. So it then fits with the sort of shows you might hear on American TV, but it's unrecognizable if you're not from the UK.
Yeah, so that's great. It sounds like a TV theme song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of these we made sure that there was nothing that was recognizable and that they all sound like TV theme songs from a period of about 20 years, from the late 70s through to the to 2003, I think was the latest.
Yeah, there was one song that we considered, but it had Randy Newman in it, and
Mhm.
that seemed like, Randy Newman's very iconic. You can recognize him immediately.
Mm.
So we scrapped that one because we thought there might be some like recognition.
Yeah, it is a tough thing because the idea is not to have an alternative explanation, but you know, in the wild, like we're doing here, we're not writing them or having AI write them or something. There's got to be mix. So, like, if the idea was theme songs that you actually have known for a long time and have heard many times versus ones, let's say that ones that were equally good, but you have never heard them before, which may not exist. Is that what we're supposed, is that the appropriate control group? Or would the appropriate control group be songs that make you feel nothing? You know, I don't know. You could argue. That sounds like a good CD. Songs that make you feel nothing. Is that Pink Floyd's The Wall? No.
It's the
Depends on who you
denial
are.
selection.
Um,
Well, we could listen to some
yeah, let's hear
if
it.
you'd like. Okay.
Yeah, and I think
Nice.
too, part of that feeling, getting the feels is that meaning making part of this whole thing, right? So it's like if I don't have a connection to this British show, who I don't anticipate many feelings to come up. But I guess you never know.
See, go.
I think you have to share your audio.
Is it not sharing?
I'm not
Oh,
hearing anything.
I didn't press the share button.
Introducing
There we
Glasgow's fastest.
Yeah, I got it.
go. Oh. Well, now I'm frozen. Hold on. Classic TV theme. That didn't really sound like what I remember us listening to. Or maybe though.
This is Gung Ho.
Okay, so yeah.
So it's like it almost feels familiar, but it's you can't really place it, right?
It feels a little bit like Sid Elmo's Fire, but
Yeah.
it's not.
And Baywatch.
Flashdance.
And
The
it's
style.
yeah, it's one of those early workplace buddy things where an Asian company sets up shop in America and hilarity ensues.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's one of those kind of cross-cultural things from I think the early 80s.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know if you know who knows this and who doesn't, but Gung Ho is a very popular movie starring Michael Keaton. So this must be the TV show version of Gung Ho.
Andrew
Yep.
did mention that. Right.
Yes,
And it
and
was
it didn't use this, and it didn't pop, and it didn't use the same music. So they tried to spin it off, but they recreated everything, and nobody went with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wildly popular. This just does make me wonder though, since this is a known entity that people will have seen the movie Gung Ho. I'm not trying to cancel the song. I'm trying to say, should we add back in the what's his name? The guy who sang Short People, Randy Newman. Should we add that back in because maybe they don't know the show, but they do know him. And so I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's really hard to know what is the task here. Do we eliminate everything that might make you feel nostalgic? But the 80s might make you feel nostalgic and you know, it's
from anecdotally for me, Randy Newman's a really interesting case because I don't really like his music. I could
Mhm.
say that on a Zoom where no one could like choke me out.
Randy. He's
I
probably in a
don't
coffee
really,
house across the street from Jesse B right now.
yeah, I don't really like his music. It kind of grating, but it reminds me of Toy Story. Like
Mhm.
almost every one of his songs, like the one that we listened to on Monday as a group, I was like thinking about Toy Story afterwards. So even with the kind of negative association, there's still some nostalgia there, which I think is so
Yeah.
fascinating, really. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not the song that I know, but there's still nostalgia.
Yeah, like this video is super nostalgic for me, just of the era. Um, but it wouldn't be more nostalgic than say playing the Brady Bunch theme to me. So it's supposed to be. So I heard from a fellow researcher at a conference that the editors of a journal where he tried to publish this article that was really about nostalgic music, they wouldn't let him call it nostalgic music because they were saying like we were talking about, Stephen, about your dissertation, that basically it is in the brain of the user. So
Mhm.
it has to be nostalgic for them, and we don't know that. So, but people, as we know, call it nostalgia evoking or nostalgia inducing. So the terminology gets a little hard, but we're going for low nostalgia inducing and high nostalgia inducing. We can't know, just like we can't know why Gary Shandling show came up on that one list. It could be utterly legit. It is a great song. I sang it for my husband, and I'm like, I'm offended that you don't already know that. But I'm just kidding. But uh we're going for low or high. So Randy Newman, his voice itself, you were saying, could be nostalgic. He's a multiple Emmy Award winner, I'm sure. I have to look it up, but I believe he is. Um, so do we omit him from the low nostalgia group because he himself his voice is likely to trigger nostalgia?
I mean, if it's likely
always
to
something.
trigger nostalgia, I would say, yeah, axe him, give him the axe.
Yep. Just to get back at him for dissing on us short people.
I wish I could remember what the show name was. We could just listen to it.
Oh, the show is called Cop Rock. So
Oh, thank you.
that's the one. I think it only ran 6 episodes. It was from Fox. It was and it was literally cops singing
I must watch this all now.
I just love that. I love the thumbnail.
It was all original songs, not even like Glee. This was back in the it's fabulous.
Okay, well, we got to hear it now.
Pull it up, Stephen. We've sold it. We've sold it. We've got a
Drop
buyer.
that cop rock.
It would
Would it
probably
be
do
better to
really
watch
well
like a
now.
blank
Oh my,
screen too?
can you raise the volume a little bit?
Let's see. Is it going up for you?
Yeah, yeah.
What does he say?
Something about under the gun, literally.
Wow, they really put some money into this, didn't they?
There's a couple of
lighting and everything.
Well, Steve
Yeah,
Bochco, who
Bochco.
did Hill Street, I think he did Hill Street Blues later on. So you're talking, this is clearly someone's like, well, it might work, and it keeps getting through the committees until it's like, how much money are we going to spend on this? And that pilot might have been a couple of $1 million at the time. And especially with him writing original songs, and they literally break into song while they're doing a stakeout or while they're arresting someone or while they're
Here's a
Wait, I think we
scene
need to
called
resurrect
Baby
this.
Merchant.
I need a producer.
Yeah, we need like a cult following moment resurrection of this for sure.
What if the Village People sang it?
Yeah.
Okay, so here so I can see on one side that we could retain some elements of songs that would potentially evoke nostalgia, because the 90s sound of that previous song you played for Gung Ho could provoke nostalgia. When I hear that song, I hear a voice that I know and a song and an idea that I have no idea about. So it could evoke some nostalgia, but it wouldn't be predicted as much as, say, Friends or the Brady Bunch or Gilligan's, all those songs that are iconic US TV theme songs. So I can see the argument for just leaving them all in, that we weren't trying to pick crappy songs versus, I mean, that we weren't trying to pick songs with no, the idea is hold one thing, hold everything constant, but hold the one thing as different. Is that one thing that's different all sources of nostalgia? Or is it just that those are literally like songs from our past in the United States? Perry, what do you
Well,
think about any of that?
Yeah, I mean, we'll never be able to control for every factor of nostalgia. So I think this approach makes sense and probably lends some credibility rather than us. It's much less interesting to say people felt more nostalgic when they heard Friends and stuff compared to like the most obscure, never before heard terrible song. That's
Makes
something someone would read and go, well, duh. But having something that still has some potential nostalgic properties, or it still has some, I think that's a good route to take because it creates a better comparison for us. Or
so
more.
would the question be how many of those type of songs we would want to include? Because our main analysis is looking at something interesting too, right? The social connectedness, self-continuity. We wouldn't want to dilute it. We wouldn't want to
Oh,
introduce the possibility to dilute that too much, right?
well,
Unless it
the
makes sense.
idea being that we'll put, if the number is 6 or if the number is 10 or whatever the number is, we'll put, say, 6 songs in the experimental, 6 songs in the control, and it's randomly picking 3 for each person. So what we need to do is come up with the 6 relatively obscure songs that are still legitimately TV songs. They're just songs that they're not aware of. Now, I could make the argument that popular British theme songs would be the better comparison because they were popular shows. The problem is it's not one to one. The show and the song, their popularity is not at all identical. We're going on familiarity in part with nostalgic songs. We know that in general, many people from who are alive and around in those days would just, they'd have to know those songs, in part because of the era. They just, it was the broadcast era, they played what they played, we were home, we turned it on, there weren't a million channels and streaming anything you want anywhere. So we watched the Brady Bunch and we were happy, we were fine. We couldn't stream whatever we wanted to. So yeah, I think Perry and I agree about this, that you don't want them to say, well, you took anything interesting out of it. They weren't sort of comparable.
Well, to that point, Karen, I think, and Perry touched on it, all of these songs, especially when you consider Randy Newman, had money and intention and investment for shows that were made and were put to air. They just didn't resonate. So by every measure, they were intended to be popular TV theme tunes. However, just for whatever reason, they didn't make it. So they are, in every sense, we might argue, comparable, except they're simply not familiar. Some became familiar and some didn't become familiar, but everything in their creation and their right up to the point that they even got to air is the same, except some are not familiar. They're either in a different territory or they bombed, and some are familiar because we went through a series of social experiences with them, with family and with ourselves, and we went through those processes. So I think if you hold, as one of you said, hold them similar, these are as similar as you can get, except for the familiarity. The familiarity is, by every measure, the music and the song and the TV and the intention and the investment and everything's the same. It's just the familiarity that just didn't fire. So that for me might be a way of measuring, is that intention and investment says these songs are as good as the others, they just simply didn't work. And probably because the show didn't work.
Yeah, and so Randy Newman, that would mean he goes back in, and any of these, like, that would argue for like EastEnders and the Coronation Street and that sort of thing. If you, in terms of, if we flipped it and we played this for a British audience, they would all know those two, because those have been on for so long. It'd be like us in The Simpsons or something, Americans, The Simpsons. Everybody knows that song. I think.
So the ones we've got for the two British ones, we've got Minder, which is a primetime cop show. It's a kind of like, I guess, a moonlighting sort of a tone, funny, huge. It went for years. It was very popular, very middle of the road. There you go.
You guys want to listen?
Yeah. Go on, you'll.
Those faces they're making. Oh man. What is this intro supposed to make us think?
What? It's kind of young cop, old cop buddy thing. And then you can see how long it ran, because they've got the original version in the late.
In it. Okay. All these songs make me happy. It does really make me wonder, do we need a third group that is like low emotional songs, elevator music, or no treatment control? Are we risking like any TV theme song could evoke too much emotion for our purposes?
We mentioned the no treatment last time. In my thinking, I I don't think that would really tell us much, because then it's up to whatever the person had been doing right before they got um to the survey. I
Mhm.
think maybe, like, I don't know, listen to a speech or something. I mean, any kind of, if we want to do a no treatment, we could do something that's not music, something
Yeah.
that's audio, low emotion
You
audio.
I listen to a lot of yoga music, and some of it is very, like, you could get some that barely, like, there's just like a babbling brook and a flute or something. I mean, that would make you feel calm, but I wouldn't use the word nostalgic for how I feel during any of that.
That could be interesting.
We could Google elevator music, or maybe there's some kind of Muzak channel. Those sometimes are like we mentioned before, musical versions of hits. Ooh, 3 hours of the best elevator. Okay, let's hear that. 3 hours of elevator music.
Should we
Like
start
a
from the beginning, or should
lo-fi
I?
moment, or like
I like this too.
This is not an elevator I've ever ridden in. I wouldn't want to get off of this one.
this actually sounds like vintage TV, like we'll be right back, kind of
Yeah.
whole. And what in the Willy Wonka elevator are we in right now?
Yeah, what is this that we're doing?
This is when they got the bubbles and they got to keep burping so they don't get stuck.
Exactly.
I would imagine that if someone was doing this as part of a survey, by about 10 seconds in, the emotion would be get this finished. Like, next.
Here, let's listen to Pathway to Heaven.
Based on
Jazzy
this,
xylophone.
I'm just going to become a elevator music fan based on this. Can I share some yoga music?
Mhm.
I just literally Googled yoga music. So ambient water.
You might need to share your sound.
Oh, sorry. Stopping sharing. Share.
With the AI background.
It's true. It's hard. All music evokes emotion. This makes me feel calm. It doesn't scream nostalgia to me, but you know, yoga music is about connections and existentialism and everything, so it could.
There is something exciting about nostalgic music. I mean, exciting in like the physics kind of term. Like there's an energy to it. Well, where this is music and it does make you feel pleasant, but it's like lowering that energy. So it
Yeah.
could be a good like opposite, I feel like.
I mean, what I'm
My
just
wife listens to this stuff to go to sleep.
I do too. I'll put on my
oh, sorry. Realized. I mean, I guess under like very recognizable classical music is not okay because we're like, oh, it reminds me of my cousin's wedding or something.
Mm.
Mm.
But yeah, if we're looking for, because is it a familiar? Does it give me the feels? Because that's the actual question, isn't it? Does it give me the feels? And then are those feels social feels or nostalgic or historic feels? That's what we want to kind of dig into, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So does yoga music give me the feels? Yes. Does it give me social feels? Probably not. Does it give me nostalgic feels? Well, probably if you did yoga as a child, but not really. So you could get them to say, yes, it gives me the feels, but not register it on any of the measures that we're looking for because it's not nostalgic, because it's very contemporary.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm trying this. I'm accepting the cookies. I'm playing smooth jazz. I just, oh no, so hard.
Actually, just thinking about that, if it was something that was very low key but relatively contemporary, it couldn't have a nostalgic element. Like if we said that it was something that had been created in the last 5 or 10 years, by definition, it can't be nostalgic because it's too new to be nostalgic.
The
So
music itself wouldn't be the object of nostalgia, but it could trigger
it
nostalgic.
could trigger nostalgia, but you could take it out of a nostalgic era by making it make the control relatively modern, relatively, obscure, relatively unknown.
Like
I'm
you could do
thinking,
it by
what about,
genre too. You could do like drum and bass
is
or
there a
whatever.
very minimalist type of music that's just very background?
Lo-fi might be something to entertain.
Yeah, I also
Although
love lo-fi. I love everything.
I do too.
although a lot of the lo-fi music that I love studied up to lo-fi music, a lot of it is like based around nostalgic feeling. Like there's this 80s lo-fi channel I used to listen to, and it does like newer music, but it's in the style. It almost feels like it's what is it, mediated nostalgia? Like it's purposely designed to sound like that. I don't know. We'd have to find the right ones, I guess.
I'm just playing some. This is lo-fi coffee shop. don't know if there's such a thing as minimal music.
A metronome. Just get them to listen to a
Yes.
tick, 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 tick.
And sometimes I'll look up like different hertz, like I'll put in like 532 HERTZ, and like it's kind of like spa music will also come out, kind of sounding like your yoga, but without like the birds and like nature sounds. It's more just like straight, like almost synthesizer, if you will.
Oh,
I
I
mean, if
wonder,
you
do
really
you
want to get wacky with it, I went to a
do you-
concert last Sunday
Mhm.
where this guy hooked up a thin synthesizer to mushrooms, and then it played music, and it was in a church.
You can get that one. I'm just continuing to play stuff here. I just looked up minimal.
Yeah, this is like when you smell the coffee beans when you're testing out candles, and it kind of brings you back to neutral. That's what we're kind of looking for.
Yeah. This is a kind of an unmusic music, kind of like, it's almost like a white noise that pushes out other things, thoughts, other sounds away.
Minimal focus Zen music for a clean mind and a clear desk.
Makes me want to clean my desk right now.
Here, let's try music for hyper focus.
The body scanner reveals the brutal truth about your body that your regular scale will
Wow,
never
now the
tell
body
you.
scanner is
For
revealing the
weeks,
brutal
my scale
truth
showed
about
I
our
wasn't
body. That's
losing weight
not,
despite diet
that's
and
not good. Okay. Zero distraction penthouse mix for productivity.
And house mats.
That might be good. Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, if you take that, if you would say zero distraction at some level equates to zero emotion, like this doesn't trigger anything. The intention of this music is not to trigger anything. Does that qualify it as a kind of a neutral music? It's not bouncy, it's not mournful, it's the whole point of it is to not trigger distractive thoughts. Does that help kind of focus it?
Yeah. Yes, I could also see just say nature sounds, period.
Mhm.
You just never know until you test it. We could do a pilot. It's just such a challenge not knowing how real people are going to react to it.
I think for me, I would be more comfortable sticking with the less familiar TV show theme songs. I think that's more of an apples to apples comparison, and also just doing
Oh, sorry, I just meant a third. I didn't mean not
a
to.
third.
Yeah.
I just did a quick database search, and there's a ton of articles about the psychology of lo-fi beats and nostalgic refuge and stuff that if we did that, we'd have to then go do a full lit review
Yeah.
on what's been published around those genres of music and the evoked emotions.
Yeah. What do you think about nature sounds only? I know that nature sounds would make you feel relaxed.
Yeah, I'm doing a quick.
You almost need white noise, a version of white noise. You know, like nature sounds, as you say, rain or something. Well, that's relaxed, but white noise, something
Like static, kind of like.
You know, let me say something crazy while Perry's looking that up. We're looking at like an analog for music, looking along the music line. But if instead we looked along the TV line, what if we had, instead of TV theme music, some audio that would be tied to TV that's not music? It's a half-formed idea.
I love if that's
Hmm.
I think
all
going
them bubble mint gum, double mint, all them gum, big red.
I think going back to the poster you all put together, right? What is the phrase that's there in the center?
It is familiar tunes were associated with safety, security, and sentimentality.
To me, that's kind of like the through line of the research. I think these ideas are interesting and could expand our research questions, but I think introducing these sorts of other music or non-TV show theme songs, it's expanding the question of what we're trying to do, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, just we have to keep in mind is what is the point that we're trying to make. To me, the cleanest one is that it's not the songs themselves that are nostalgic, but people feel nostalgic because they have familiarity and associations with them. So doing two conditions where it's theme songs, but one is controlled to be unfamiliar for most people, and one is controlled to be familiar for most people. That's like the cleanest comparison to make versus bringing in other things. Then we're kind of creating a larger scope, like different types of music that affect these psychological outcomes versus like making a clean point about TV show theme songs.
I do agree with that. The reason I was thinking of a third condition, like a no treatment control, initially was because what if music is just so powerful that it's kind of a ceiling effect and everybody's feeling it, so that we would have a no treatment control as a comparison. They haven't been provoked into any feelings by anything, because of what we're finding, just that music will make you feel things no matter what. If we did a no treatment control, those people would just go straight to the DVs, and then they would be out in a couple of minutes. And is there any thing that is going to shoot us in the foot if we had a no treatment control group, other than people just not liking them in general?
When you say no treatment, you mean don't even play them anything.
Yeah, exactly. No treatment
Contemplative
is just,
silence.
I mean, we could make them sit for 30 seconds, but
Yeah.
that could provoke them as well.
All right.
I wonder if
Yeah.
reading lyrics to songs would be different than hearing them, but then we're changing our whole, makeup there. But it's still within the TV theme song realm. And I wonder if that would maybe control for the music portion. Like if they're not listening to it, they're not being impacted by audio, but they're reading the lyrics of the show. So I wonder if that would be anything. But
Well, I guess a version of basically no treatment control would be a 30-second countdown followed by how are you feeling? All those things that the other people are filling out, so we could find out how happy, sad, etc. they're feeling. And then it would feel weird to do that 3 times, 30-second countdowns and then 3 just report how you're feeling. We could give them a cover story, like we're just interested in emotions and different media experiences or something like that.
by the third one, they're going to be pissed.
Right.
Yeah.
We could test for that. Did they get angrier and angrier?
Yeah, that's now that we're talking about it, it does seem like it is a manipulation. You're asking them, you're not only asking them to you're asking them to do something that they wouldn't typically do. How many people typically just sit in silence and look at a blank computer
I do
screen?
that all day when you're not looking at me. That's all
And that would be torture for me. My brain would be looking for anything else to
yeah.
grasp onto. I don't know.
So Perry, I'm just thinking, dear God, what happens if we do this and then everyone's feeling super nostalgic and we have the same data that we had the first time? So that's why I keep going back to some comparison of it. I mean, obviously we could also do pre-post, but people complain about that too. Everyone complains about everything, but random assignment is considered strong. You could argue that you don't need to ask the if there was a basic no treatment control and you just had them wait on a 30-second countdown, you could argue that you don't want to do it 3 times because it might make them angry, and just do it once and they only have one set of emotions instead of doing a mean of 3 sets of emotions. There should be a bigger difference, say, between a no treatment control. Let's say we did that, just 30 seconds, watch the clock go down, and at the end, you just give me your emotional ratings, and then you fill out the dependent measures. And those people's emotions, yes, to your point, Stephen, they will vary generally. That's just what's the word I'm looking for? Noise. It's people come to a setting with all kinds of either no emotions, high emotions, that's just present in all conditions. But you would think their emotions wouldn't be as strong for happy and comfortable and all that as someone who's just heard something that makes them feel good, like the nostalgic songs. If the no treatment control just didn't work or people didn't like it, you could drop it out and just talk about the study with the other 2 conditions, because each person only experienced one condition. They weren't affected by anything else. It's more participants, but
Some good
less
points.
time per participant on the controls.
It'd be a different conversation if we had even like somewhat good quality results in study 1.
Yeah, that, like I say, that is what I'm trying to eliminate, the idea that music evokes emotions. And so just like in our other studies, they weren't about there were other studies that the song the person heard may not have been a powerful thing for them, but it was enough. I remember joking specifically about one of the studies from that big group of researchers, and they just picked one song and it worked. And it was just an okay song. So I want to think about having something to fall back on if the music is evoking emotions that are too strong. Of course, we could set this up with the no treatment control, let's say, and try to get volunteers, because that's not costing us anything but time. And then we could simply copy, if it worked with the volunteers, we could either just use that data or we could copy the study in Qualtrics and then put it up on Cloud Research if we wanted to do that. We'd need to get like a certain number of participants for it to be legit, but I don't know if there's any ethical problem with running the 2 music categories first, just to try to get those filled with participants, and then running the 3rd no treatment control separately, just to make sure we have enough data to analyze. I'm not, it's, we don't want it to be something that all the participants experience, but they don't know what they're getting assigned when they show up and notice the survey. I'm not sure if that would be a problem or not.
I think that would be fine. We can make it look everything identical, just they're taking it maybe a week after the other group.
Yeah, as long as we're recruiting the same way, about the same time, it should be the same population.
Yeah, I think it's probably for us, yeah, it makes sense to first get these 2 groups. The only other thing I've been thinking about is if for some reason this fails and, we talk to Cloud Research and they can't figure out why participants are so familiar with things they say are unfamiliar to them, is doing more if depending on if we wanted to go back to the drawing board a bit and go back to kind of the within subjects version and really make the argument more about the correlations between people who feel more nostalgic about the theme songs than feel the self-continuity and things. So not making about these are the nostalgic songs, these are the non-nostalgic songs, but more these songs are generally familiar to people. When people feel more nostalgic, they feel those things. But that's also a little bit of a different argument.
Yeah, and we can make that argument with our data, I believe, from study one if we decide to write that up. But yeah, we could just take that approach and do the correlational version. And then if we demonstrated that, then try the experimental version again.
Yeah, because we know from our correlations we ran for study one post hoc that those who did feel more nostalgic and were more familiar then scored higher on our dependent variables.
Yeah, we could go right now and just do the correlational work, just play songs for them, play the nostalgia inducing songs, and then predict that those who felt more nostalgia would feel more of that self-continuity and all the outcomes. There's no reason to not sort of do that first and then go back to this and do what we were just talking about and say, okay, now experimentally, can we make that happen? So what it would entail is setting up just the high nostalgic songs, having people come in, do 3 of those songs, do the ratings, and then go straight to the DVs and predict that the more nostalgia they feel, either based on the single item measure or on the multiple emotion measure, the more the higher they will be on each of those dependent variables. Couldn't we actually do that like ASAP? Because all we'd have to do is drop out, have it choose for them 3 30-second clips of the nostalgia inducing songs. Don't worry about the low ones. And we do the power analysis again. We'd need a different N, I would imagine, for a correlation. Can we do who wants to do a power analysis who is not me? Who is dying right now to ask AI what the power analysis results would be for a correlational study on nostalgic music and 3 short outcome variables?
Yeah, I can do it. Sorry, what was the setup again?
It's a correlational design, nostalgia predicting those 3 outcome variables, which are short. They're short item. If that, I don't know what all the information is going to ask you. It's going to make you guess as to the effect size.
Yeah, we usually guess a medium effect if we don't have other reason to think otherwise.
I'm going to test it. So I'm not going to ask it for the effect size until it asks me. If it turns out that AI is like sentient, I will just have been bullying it for a year.
Be nice to AI. You don't want to, just like I don't want to end up in hell. Like, what if
I
there is
always
a
say
devil?
please, but I never trust it. Okay, so we'll say medium. That's size. Alpha level of desired power 1.9.
We usually do 0.8.
Right. So one-tailed test.
Yes, it is one-tailed.
Three outcome variables. Okay. Let's see.
I'm doing it too. It's giving me different things like if you have a method of X number of participants per variable, you might need a 10-to-1 ratio or a 20-to-1 ratio. That's not a formal power analysis.
So mine is, this is pretty helpful. I've trained it well. It says, without a correction, it needs about 70 participants. With the Bonferroni correction for 3 outcome variables, you need about 100 participants.
Okay.
Which we have.
Wait, Perry, here's a question. Can we not use the data we already have? Or do you want to run it fresh? We can run
This
it.
is where, I mean, I think we should run it either way, but I think this is where it gets confusing when you're trying to write up for a journal, because we could just say that it's data from a previous study or experimental design. I know that gets a little confusing, so you have to kind of explain
Yeah.
the conditions when you collected it, but it's also confusing to go through all the details of the methodology and then be like, and that one didn't work. So we just kept the data.
Yeah. I guess we can just do it till till we run out of money.
But I think we run it first on the study 1 data for the group and just see how strong, you know, if we're feeling satisfied with those correlations that we get.
Mhm.
You know, and then the other thing to, just for the sake of saying it for the lab group, is that if we go this route, then we do take away some of our ability for causation, right? It becomes more correlational. If we don't have an experimental control group against it.
That's the reason for all this struggle with the experimental group, because you cannot say what caused what with the correlation. So just if you're in that heightened emotional state, you will experience more of those outcomes. So I would want to then follow that up with the next study, the experiment, and then you run the first 2 conditions first, and then the no treatment control next. All right, I am now going to share my screen with an important announcement. I asked AI in the Friends TV theme song, are there 4 or 5 claps? Jesse, you are vindicated. Although some viewers misremember or even count 5, the band confirmed that there are 4.
Hilarious. Thank you for the evidence-based claim.
So what are people's thoughts? Can we go around the room? I've already said what I thought, regardless of what I think. What would each of us like to do next?
Just run it. let's just do it and do it. What do we need? Like, what are you looking for in regards to like, what should we do next? Like plan of action or new
I mean,
ideas?
which version of the study? Should we run the correlational version with 100-ish people? Or should we run the experimental study with 2 groups? Or should we run the experimental study with 2 groups first and then the 3rd group? Or something else other than those choices?
Here's hopefully maybe educational stupid question. Could we run the first 2 groups and then if we need something more interesting, run the 3rd one using the same methodology just with a different condition? I mean,
Yes, if
I
we
know
make
that's
it like the control group third, yes, we could do that.
probably not like best practice, but we're running short on
We would have
months.
to become blood brothers and sisters and never tell anyone, and also not share this recording.
Yeah, right. This is recorded.
Yeah, I'm in favor of the more polished, refined version that with a shorter list of hit songs that we know to be hit songs because we learned them, and then thematically very similar, obscure, unfamiliar songs, which, that would be my thing. Mind you, I'm not deep into stats at this point, so I think it's just going back to do a tidier version of the things we learned from.
It definitely would be the more interesting study to be able to publish.
Hmm.
Is the more
Just-
familiar versus unfamiliar TV show theme songs.
Hmm.
And having the control group does increase our ability to include causation in our argument.
Jesse, do you have a vote?
Oh, yeah, I like what Ross just said and what Perry backed up. I think tidying up what we kind of already have, and I like the idea of having familiar and then unfamiliar. I think, and I like the idea of the popularity part of things, of like, people are probably going to be searching for that more or using it in their citing our paper more, like stuff like that. So I think it's I vote that way.
I like this. I'll add one thing. We can also hypothesize the correlation from the beginning. A priori, we know what happened in our other data. And to Perry's points, if we don't feel like explaining all the stuff that went wrong, then we could just forget that happened, but we know it happened. And so here from the beginning, first thing we're going to do is correlations, and we're going to predict the correlation between, and then we're going to predict the experimental parts of the design that the nostalgic group, the high nostalgia, or what I call it, popular versus obscure, would increase the outcome variable, the level of the outcome variables. Okay, it sounds like we're set on that. That is good. Does the music, the people working on the music, do you need any more input on the obscure songs?
I think we're pretty settled on it, right? I mean, we talked about possibly adding in like more tangentially familiar songs like Randy Newman. So if that's a direction we think would be good.
Oh, I thought that was already on your list and you were just trying to count him off. If that's the case, then just put him back on, I think.
Okay.
Swap him on for one of the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's the case, I can ask Andrew if he wouldn't mind doing that since he's done all the other ones fabulously. I love the idea of the control, but are we the control group? Is that part of what we agreed to just now?
Yeah, let's do the 2 first and then add the control. I think it would be nice to show a greater distance, because if it's a no treatment control, it should have lower emotional responses from the participants, but we want to do it right away. We don't want to wait 2 months, probably. There's all kinds of threats to internal validity about stuff, but if you do it, you can get your data in days. So we get a couple days, get the first set of data, and then We could quickly look at it, but either way, we've got enough money left to just run that third one. Yeah, I'm happy to do the two first, just make sure everything's fine, and then run the third one.
It's an easy adjustment on my side for the Qualtrics. I just, like you said, I want to be cost conscious. If we get another weird flub with our data, then it might be nice that we didn't pay for that third.
You know, the average time was, I think 9 minutes plus. We could put it down to a 10-minute study. We are changing the parameters, so let's talk about this. Can we do it in 10 minutes if we use two 30-second songs? Question. Can we do it in 10 minutes if we use three 30-second songs? Do we need three songs, or or two enough? That's, you know, like, so we can pay, it is definitely by the minute, so 10 minutes is cheaper than 15. Do we think it's powerful enough with two? Does anyone have any thoughts about the number of songs? Or keeping in mind, these are 30-second clips now and not the whole thing.
If we're doing 30-second clips, I would do 3 because that's only about 90 seconds of the intervention.
Yeah, my follow-up for that would be, should I bake in some code, which I've done before, I know it's possible, that doesn't allow them to go to the next until they finish the 30 seconds.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do 30 seconds each, fade up, fade down, whatever part of the song is fine. And when we run, you know, Cloud Research has you run a group first. I can't remember if it's 25 or 50 or what, but then we can stop and look at that. And what was I going to say about that? Oh, check the time the average time it took those first participants to do it, and just see if it's legit that we're paying them for 10 minutes instead of 15 minutes, because that was the data we got from the first study. Okay, I think we know all that we need to know right now. Does anyone else have anything else they want to cover?
I will want to get a beta test of this thing once it's done. So I'll finish up the Qualtrics and I'll just send it out to everyone and just ask that you go through it 1 or 2 times.
Very
It could
good.
be a bit of a time sink if we're locking the time, but we'll see.
I guess we should, I don't think
Oh,
there were
sorry.
any errors last time. It didn't seem that there were, but we want to make sure maybe that we test the experimental and the control, and that, okay, here's the experimental one, do that. Here's the control one. By experimental control, I mean high popular songs and obscure songs. Just so we're sure that it's recording all of that 100% correctly.
I'm so sorry. Could you say that one more time?
Sure, no, I'm being confusing. So I want to make sure that the experimental manipulation is correct in the Qualtrics. So when you're beta testing it, can we run both people in the popular song condition and people in the obscure song condition?
Yes, the most natural way to test that would just be for whoever's going through it to go through it multiple times. If you've gone through it 3
Okay.
times and you get the same condition every time, statistically improbable. So there's probably something wrong. And I will say, for when I send it out, the biggest change here is going to be linking new songs, because I have to input this long link for each one of the songs in there. It's not that much, but if I get anything wrong in the coding, it'll either not show up or something, and it's hard to test all of them. So I'll write all this on the email that I send out to.
Okay, but yeah,
that makes sense.
same as before, where it's recording whether they're in the experimental or control group. I'm using that term loosely. It's a control comparison group, just the obscure songs. Does anyone have a better word than obscure? I don't know, but
Unfamiliar.
unfamiliar. Yeah. High
Because
familiar,
they're
low
not
familiar.
technically obscure, they're actually quite popular. They're just unfamiliar to this audience.
Yeah, so high and low familiar. That's recorded in the data. We send them 3 songs, they're 30-second clips. Yeah, all that. And we're picking 3 out of 6. Is that right?
Wait, I'm sorry, 3 songs per participant?
3 30-second clips per participant.
What?
Yep, 3 different songs.
Okay. 2 groups,
And
3 songs out of 6 total choices per unfamiliar and familiar.
okay,
Okay.
so just checking that that's it. So we've 6 songs familiar, 6 songs unfamiliar, and it's randomly picking any 3 each time, and we're recording which ones they were, just in case there's any.
And there's no, so everyone's going to get all familiar or all unfamiliar.
Yeah, because it's between subjects.
Between, not within. Yep. Okay.
Okay, I think that is correct. Anything else? All right, thank you for trudging through that. Again, it takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness in this business.
It's fun.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, team. See you next week.
All right, see ya.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You too.
Bye.